Welcome, everyone. And for those of you who have joined us for the past 2 days, welcome back. My name is Jaslyn. I'm the Market Development Manager at ExxonMobil for Primary Packaging, and I'll be hosting again today's session. So today is day 3 of a series of webinar on advanced plastic and circularity through innovation and collaboration, which is jointly hosted by ExxonMobil Signature Polymers, APCO, and Control Union. Day 1, we had an overview about the direction of future packaging in Australia and how we can design packaging with recyclability in mind. And then day 2, we explored current challenges in incorporating mechanical recycled plastics back into the value chain and ways we can support that through EM Signature Polymers. Now, today, we will explore on advanced recycling, a complement to mechanical recycling. How exactly AR can complement mechanical recycling and how it can be implemented. I'll let our speakers today, Chan Quy Lin from ExxonMobil and Juan Matias Garcia from Control Union to share more. Before we start, just a quick reminder, at any time throughout the webinar, please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A chat box below, and we will have a session towards the end of the webinar to answer these questions live. Okay, now I'll pass it on to Chan Quy Lin. He's our Asia Pacific Advanced Recycling and Sustainability Market Manager from ExxonMobil to share more about advanced recycling.
Thanks, Jaslyn. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you already had a good lunch. Pardon me if you feel that my voice sounds really weird. I'm having a bad cold today. Okay, so before I start, maybe I'd like to ask a questions to the audience. Now, you have seen in the previous slides that we say advanced recycling is complementary to advanced recycling. So does everybody agree that advanced recycling is complementary and not competing? Now, so if you think it's complementary, can I get a reaction, so like a thumb up on your screen? Okay, great. That's very encouraging. Thanks. So that's a good scene set to the next slides. Okay, so now today we are here to talk about advanced recycling and how our ExxonMobil Extend technology for advanced recycling can help through innovations and to help drive circularity, a more circular economy, right? So now, in addition to being complementary to mechanical recycling, Extend technology also aims to accelerate progress towards a more circular economy, right? Now, if you look at the chart on the top right, this is a typical linear economy of mechanical recycling, as well as a typical path towards like an end-of-life plastic waste, right? So typically after consumptions of plastics, the plastic waste either get incinerated, landfilled, or worst case, leaked to the environment, right? So that's really something that we don't like to see, like to avoid that as much as possible. So portion of that get recycled, right? Today through mechanical recycling. And according to OECD, less than 9% globally get recycled. Now, but however, mechanical recycling itself is more of a linear, is downcycling rather than upcycling. We know the limitations of mechanical recycling, where there's a concern on degradations of mechanical property, as well as potential contaminations, which will then lead to limitations in terms of where you can put this PCR back into applications, right? So for things like food sensitive applications, medical applications, those are really out of reach, right? So that's mechanical recycling. So as I start in the beginning saying that advanced recycling with Extend technology is a complementary to mechanical recycling, and here is where it adds additional optionality to recycling, right? So I mentioned earlier that less than 9% globally is getting recycled. So what happens here is with advanced recycling, through Extend technology, we are able to process and return difficult to recycle plastic waste. And through pyrolysis process, under high heat and the absence of oxygens, we will turn those into its molecular building blocks, right? Which will then becomes feed for assets, as you can see on the bottom left, leading to the manufacturing complex. So one of the beauty about advanced recycling is whenever we break it down into its basic molecular building blocks. Now, for those of you that are familiar with chemistry, an ethane molecule that comes from plastic waste or an ethane molecule that comes from fossil-derived feed, if you look at under the microscope, is exactly the same, right? So this is where it gets co-processed, right? And at our manufacturing complex, and ultimately we produce what we call certified circular plastic resins. Now, for the very point that I mentioned earlier, that you will not be able to distinguish at molecular level between what comes from plastic waste source and what comes from the fossil-derived feed, this is where we utilize the ICC Plus mass balance free attributions model system, right? And this is a globally reputable, auditable, open and traceable system, right? That certify and do audit across the entire and value chain, across the whole value chain, right? Okay, so that's one, and then the other thing is I'd like to highlight on this page is that the certified circular polymers that we produce ultimately, it is as good as virgin, is virgin material, right? However, it does not represent any GHG emissions, or neither does it represent any recycled content like mechanical recycling. Typically, you say post-consumer recycled content, right? In this case, for the very fact that I mentioned earlier, that at molecular level, you can't differentiate between the plastic waste feed derived or fossil derived feed. We are calling them a certified circular content. Okay, so with that, let me move on to the next slides. So for ExxonMobil, I'm proud to say that we pride ourselves being the leader in this space. Our first assets was commercially commissioned back in December 2022, right, at Baytown. So this is a 40,000 tons processing capability at a single site, and is fully integrated into our manufacturing facilities, right? So it's been up and running for more than 2.5 years. And over the 2.5 years, we have learned valuable lessons in terms of what we can process, the kind of plastic waste we can process, and that essentially widen the range of plastic waste that can be recycled, right? And I mentioned in the previous slide that ExxonMobil leverages ICC Plus mass balance free attributions, right? And with this commercializations of the assets, and we are selling this certified circular polymers to our customer, we are helping customer and consumer to meet their goals for plastic circularity, right? And then last but not least, the fact that we are fully integrated into our world scale facility, we have the ability to scale up our assets fairly quickly, right? And in fact, just for information, 2 months ago, we have started our second unit at Baytown. So all in all, now we are talking about 80,000 tons of nameplate processing capability in Baytown. Okay, so if you look at the next slide, that's where we have the global footprint, right? ExxonMobil has announced 500 KTA processing capability by 2027, right? And most of it leveraging our large-scale integrated facilities, right? So on the previous slide, I mentioned about the 2 units that's really up and running in Baytown. And earlier part of this year, we have seen out there in the media that we make an announcement of adding further $200 million of investment to turn on other sites, right? To bring on other sites over the next 2 years, right? So those will be mostly in the Americas, right? And if you look at around the world, for example, in Asia Pacific, this part of the world, right? We have collaborations in Malaysia, We have collaborations with Indonesia, with local recycler, to turn plastic waste into feed, where we can then process it in Singapore. So if you look at the dot in Singapore, our Singapore plant is really ICC Plus certified since April 2024. So we are commercial in Singapore. Technically means that we are able to supply our customer with ICC Plus certifications for certified circular polymers coming out of Singapore for both PE and PP material. And in fact, today, just for information, we are already selling into Australia, right, for your market. Okay. Now, one thing I want to mention before I leave this page is you don't see a point in the China. Okay, but for China, we do have a joint venture site in the southern part of China. And in fact, if for those of you that has been keeping track on the media, there was an announcement in August where this company has started up processing plastic waste. And with our joint venture, we do have access to those circular feed, and we are ready to supply certified circular polymers from China as well. Okay, so next page. So the journey towards 500 KTA is not going to be done overnight, right? That's why I call it a journey. It's a long journey. In fact, way back in 2019, we became founding members of Alliance to End Plastic Waste. So you can call that the start of everything, right? And then in 2021, we formed this joint venture, Cyclic, together with LBI, Agilic, and ExxonMobil, right? So that entity essentially is responsible for collecting, aggregating, pre-processing the plastic waste and bring those feed to our plant for processing. Okay, so we are well established there with the investment there. And I've mentioned about our expansion, right? Starting with the first unit in December 2022, and we have started our second unit 2 months ago, right? And out there in the media, I mentioned earlier that we have announced a $200 million investment. Okay, so and right now, in fact, we pride ourselves to be a leader in this space because we have commercial assets on the ground. We are producing and we have commercialized solutions with customer, and we are selling those across the globe, right? One of it which is dear to your heart is Cadbury chocolate, and you will see that later on as one slide will bring up that success case story. That's an Australian success case story, right? I'll talk about that one later. So we not only sell to one brands, but there's many solutions that we have already implemented. So you can see on the next slide that we sell our certified circular polymers to many different applications around the world, right? Jane, next slide, please. Yeah, okay. So these are just some examples, right? Not entirely all the segments and application that we're covering. So one that is dear to your heart is Cadbury Chocolate Australia under Mondelez, and this is already commercialized. In Australia also, we have the top right with Silk Air, that PP tray, that PP food tray is also made from ExxonMobil PP certified circular polymers. At the bottom left, this is a well-known FMCG brand, right? Fast food chain that is using our material into the cup, right? And we're also into pet food packaging, right? So in the next 3 slides, I'm going to cover the success case story. I'm going to share that with you, and you can have a more appreciation of what we are implementing around the globe. So next slides. So this one is on Cadbury chocolate. And for those of you that are interested, you notice there's a QR code on the top right, right? Feel free to scan that, and that will lead you to a website with a full write-up of this particular case, right? So this was a collaboration between Australia Cadbury, which is under Mondelez, with Amcor, utilizing our Extend technology to put the certified circular PP into the chocolate packaging, right? So it was already commercialized since 2021, 2024, and then this year, 2025, they're actually scaling up. And there's no stopping to that, right? So they'll continue to expand this footprint, and they'll stay committed, right? So this is one very good example that the next time when you go to the supermarket, pick up a bar of Cadbury chocolate and you look at the reverse, you will see all the informations, right? There will be a QR code there that leads to the Mondelez Cadbury chocolate website. Okay, so that's the Cadbury chocolate case study, right? The next one is interesting, right? Because we talk so much about driving circularity. We talk so much about achieving a circular economy. So this is really extend technology for advanced recycling in practice, right? With driving a circular food packaging economy, right? Solutions. So these are collaborations between ExxonMobil, Cyclic, Silk Air, and Echo Dehazer. So Echo Dehazer, take it like your Woolworth in Australia, right? So it's a retail chain. So essentially what happened here is that we are actually collecting the flexible packaging from the grocery stores. The one that you see on the left picture, where it's used to package the proteins, right? And once this is collected back, Cyclic will then process that, clean it, and then send that feed to our Baytown assets. We process that, turn it into certified circular polymers, and we pass the certified circular polymers to Silk Air, where they will then go through the converting process and manufacture the films, right? And that films then goes back to Echo Dehazer for packaging, and that cycles go again, right? So very interesting case study, right? It's a success story that we have in the US. And what I want to leave with you is, as you think about your business, right? If you have any opportunity to drive some of this circularity program, feel free to reach out to us, and then we can have discussions on how to make this a reality, right? Okay. Again, there's a QR code on the bottom right. Feel free to take that, and that will also lead you to a write-up on this particular case. Okay. Now, last but not least, is a case study that we have in actions in the US, and this is for non-food. Okay, this is non-food packaging, right? And this is in artificial turf. So I think some of you are familiar with Tenkate, which is the artificial turf manufacturer. So the case in action here is really the end of life turf, because there are actually very limited outlets and channel for end of life turf recycling. According to the industry, practically all of them get collected back and get either incinerated or landfill. The mechanical recycling path is challenging, and the reason is because of cost as well as complexity of the formulations, right? Because if you understand how a typical formulations for artificial grass is, you have the PE turf, you have the PP base, you have the polyurethane adhesive, and then you have the rubber and the sand backing, right? So if you take away the sand and the rubber, what's left is your PE and your PP and your PU. So typically for a mechanical recycling, the preference is to have single stream. But in this case, because it's multi-polymer, it makes mechanical recycling very difficult, right? And the channels for that, the use of the PCR, again, is very limited. There's no way you can put this back into your turf, right? So with that, we collaborated with Tenkate, and while they are laying the new turf, they bring back the end of life turf, and Cyclic get involved in this, and they basically process that and provide that to our Baytown assets for processing. And then with that, we turn that into polypropylene, polyethylene, right? And that material then gets back to the applications, right? So it is the first ever solutions for turf circularity in the US, and in fact in the industry, right? And we are not stopping here. We are thinking for looking for opportunities, right, to expand this beyond other regions, right? And essentially, we're open to the entire industry. So again, want to leave you with that thoughts in your mind that when we talk about circularity, it's not just limited to food packaging, right? It could be other form of end-of-life plastics that were previously challenging in terms of recycling. Okay, I think that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Shan, for your sharing. It's definitely an interesting journey towards 500 KTA and expanding the range of plastics that can be recycled and advance to circularity. Next, I'll invite Juan, business manager from Control Union, to share on advanced recycling and plastic certification standards. Juan.
Hello, thank you all for inviting me to give this presentation. I would like to talk about which kind of certification standards do we have for plastics. After the wonderful presentation from Chan, I want to move for how can we certify the remaining products from the entire advanced recycling, and then I will go through the current standards. We go for next slide. And okay, the already Chan mentioned about ISCC Plus is probably the most known standard for certify products from processes from the entire recycling process, and is worldwide very active and known in chemical, in oil, and all kind of businesses. And well, I guess we have, as Control Union, we are one of the top certification bodies for ISCC Plus worldwide. The standard owner is their own ISCC, is a German company, and they are working from many years. They were probably the first certification standard for this kind of product certification. And well, let's say is the several situations that can be certified from ISCC. They have Plus, and then they have Corsia for biofuels from aviation, and they are different weights. We go for next slide, please. Okay. ISCC is a B2B certification and is of product and via sustainability declaration. And then as a certification body, we go and we match that the evidences are there in the client, the company who wants to be certified. And then there is also an option for business to consumer. And then this is on and off product certification. And we also need to get the evidences that the company is fulfilling meeting the request from the standard owner from ISCC. And then we say, okay, this is already done. The company can claim the ISCC certificate in their products or in their website, wherever. We go for next slide, please. Recyclas is a relatively younger certification standard. Is based for processes and very focused only for plastics, not for other products. We saw ISCC, they can have for more products, not only for plastic, also for fuels and so on. Recyclas is focused only on plastics, and is to get the process standard, to get all the process certification, and also for plastics traceability. The benefits is promotes transparent use of recycled plastics. And let me say that this is now the demand is high, very high, I would say, in all the regions. Countries where it is mandatory to get plastics recycling certification. There are not so many other options. Then, of course, it makes Recyclas one of the best options for the companies. The process is also to go in pre and post consumer plastics with prerequisites for suppliers for many certifications schemes. Usually, companies applying as they are already certified with, of course, all the ISO standards 9001, 14001, probably 50001 for energy management systems. And now they want to go one step forward and then they go for Recyclas. And the credibility is that is also recognized from accreditation bodies. It means that it's not only the standard owner saying, okay, this is our standard, and we as certification body certify. It is that the accreditation body is monitoring and controlling the standard by itself, and also the work of the certification bodies like Control Union. They monitor us, they control us, they audit us at least once per year to see that we are delivering the proper audit for the standard. Once the client is, once the company is certified, then they can put the claim that, okay, we are Recycla certified. In some countries, it means they can apply for some financial support from the government, regional governments or national governments. And this is now, let's say, being implemented in many countries, especially in European region. We go for next slide, please. Then there is global recycle standard and recycle claim standard. Those are, let's say, other potential standards, also with a long serving period, I would say, and is for track and verify recycling raw material through a supply chain. Is created from Control Union and Textile Exchange many years ago, and is known as GRS. So let's say, and now it's delivered from Textile Exchange by itself as an independent certification standard owner. The benefits are the clear verification or recycling content of a product. Is more related for textile products more than other kind of recycled products, and also industry leading standards. Companies since 15, 18 years applying for GRS, and also guarantees traceability from the recycler to the end product. Probably you see some retail companies products that say, okay, 100% recycled textile, 100% recycled products. Those are probably certified with GRS, Global Recycle Standard. The standard guarantees 100% that the product contains 95 to 100% content without any non-certified material. So the traceability needs to be very detailed. And the recycled claim standard blended guarantees that the product contains 5 to 95 recycled content with no other restrictions in the remaining content. Widely used among the textile industry, increasing use and increasing demand from the textile industry, from the retail industry, asking their suppliers from textile industry, of course, and also increasingly used in technical packaging and automotive industries. The beginning of the standard was more based on the textile industry. Now more industries are coming to ask for. Currently about 10,000 companies worldwide with GRS certified branches such as Gant, All Saints, Tommy Hilfiger, H&M, and G-Star. So some of the most known textile brands. We go for next slide. Plastic waste reduction program, also one, let's say, long experience certification standard, plastic crediting mechanism based on driving investment into projects that increase plastic waste collection or recycling. And certified projects can receive plastics credits for collected recycled plastic waste. One plastic credit is 1 metric ton of plastic waste that would not have been collected, recycled without the project. The plastic waste reduction program is based on verification and validation, not only on audits, it's verification and validation. So we verify that the information who is presented to us from the company is real, meets the requirements of the standard. And the benefits is sale of plastic credits generates additional income streams for the companies, and third-party assurance volunteers of plastic waste collected, recycled, makes it possible, enables the company to sell it for companies applying only recycled materials, and increase recognition and credibility on the project activities in most of the industries. Is not only applied on textile industry, but in more industries, automotive, and also in aerospace industry. And well, it's based on this validation and verification. The standard owner is FERRA in the US, and it can be done from any organization interested in setting up plastic waste collection and or recycling activities. So let's say it's a first step to go for further deeper recycling business. The claims that the company can make is also to present the verification, the validation certificate to their clients and to the consumers. Next slide. Flustix is also a young certification standard based in Germany, based here in Berlin, and is about certifying the use and which amount of plastics and recycled plastics are used in the products, and they are different categories of percentage of recycling plastic use in the product. And you can see them now, for example, Starbucks using in the glasses that they have, these paper glasses. They are recycled products, and it's now in a high increase of standard. I would say worldwide, not only Europe-wide, but worldwide. The standard owner is an independent foundation based in Germany, and is important for manufacturers, converters, retailers, and brands looking for potential standards which can be applied to their products to show that they are using plastic and other materials, recycled products. And the credibility comes because the standard owner is not yet accredited, but they work with several certification bodies. One of them is Control Union. There are other certification bodies working with them, and the work is that all the certification schemes are constantly updated to the state of the art, because the technology is allowing, I would say, year by year to use more recycled material for the products which can be certified from Flustix Lex plastics. And we go for next slide. Plastic pollution reduction standard is also another plastic certification standard. Is a crediting mechanism similar to one that we saw previously, driving investment into projects that increase plastic waste collection or recycling. And the benefits are the sale of plastic credit generates additional business streams, of course, for the company. And the standard owner is PCR Solutions, and it makes credible standard that are only issued based on actual verified volumes. Is also a validation certification, high transparency with blockchain based registry, and most rigorous plastic crediting mechanism. The claims is also that the company can show what they are doing with some volume of plastics they are recycling. And next slide. Community Waste Program is also another certification standard to encourage the removal of community-based plastic from the environment by adding value in effectively collecting and treating. It's more minded for communities, and the National Voluntary Food Product Standard with requirements for certification of recycled content and chain of custody. The standard owner is also Verra, based in the US, as we saw previously, with other standard, and it is now growing because it's not only to apply for the company, but also for the community. And then you need also some agreement in the geographical area, and useful addition to extend the producer responsibility schemes. The claims can be made with the recycling sub-program or neutrality sub-program. And I think this is, next slide, please. Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Juan, for sharing. Now we will move to the Q&A session, but before I move on to the Q&A, I would just like to remind everyone that the presentation material from these past 3 days will be available at our ExxonMobil website. So please look forward to further communication from our side regarding the presentation material. Right, so we'll move on to the Q&A question and answer segment. Okay, thank you very much, Juan. Thank you, Chan, for sharing today and answering the questions. There are other questions in the chat box. We will reach out to you to answer the questions personally. And again, in terms of the material for these past 3 days will be available in our website. So please stay tuned for our further communication. Any further questions, you can scan the QR codes in the screen. And once you exit this webinar, there will be a prompt for survey. Appreciate if you can fill in the survey, and we'll see you in the next opportunity. Thank you, everyone.